Hello, I'm Lawrence Chard. Welcome to our Chard Coin and Bullion Dealer YouTube channel. First thing is, the last video we published, somebody said, don't ask us to do a thumbs up if you like the video right at the start, because we're going to watch to the end before we decide. So we're going to give you a minus and a thumbs down to that. Well, fair enough. If you don't like the video so far, give us a thumbs down and you can change your mind later. If you do like it, you know what to do, and you might subscribe because I'll probably forget to mention it later. So today, well, we had and still have quite a list of important things that we want to do videos of. One was gold price performance last year and how much money a lot of our customers will have made on their gold holdings. Another one is about silver and its performance last year. And then, of course, the other two questions from that, what are they both going to do this year? What's the gold price forecast? What's silver price forecast? We couldn't decide which one to do first, so we thought we'll try and throw them all together in one video. And today we have our lovely Kira with us, who declined to be sitting next to me on the camera. Kira, where should we start today?
We'll start with gold today.
Okay.
So, the price of gold on the 1st of January 2025 was 2,103.32 pence. The gold price on the 1st of January 2026 was 3,209.16 pence. Did you expect this increase to happen this year?
I think you should have asked me early on, before the start of the year or shortly into it. Yes, I would have expected price increases. What was the percentage there, by the way? It was...
The increase was 52.58%.
Yeah, 52% odd, yeah. I don't think I would have forecast that kind of increase. In any case, I try to be conservative about price forecasts. I'm not one of these hype merchants who go and say, gold doubled this year, buy it now before you miss out. And the same with silver. I try to be quite cautious and conservative. Could be because I'm not perfect. I actually meant to wear the I could be wrong shirt today. I've got the wrong one, which proves I could be wrong, and here it is. I'm not perfect, and that's correct as well. So if I talk about gold or silver price forecasts, yeah, I could be wrong. I'm not perfect. And a lot more, I don't do some of the deep research that some professionals do, people like quants at some of the top focus and merchant banks. JP Morgan probably have a team of people following over all sorts of models and spreadsheets to do their forecasts. We don't. We do have different opinions. I see stuff all the time, and my views kind of react to things. So, no, I wouldn't have forecast that, but 52% is an incredible increase for the price of almost anything, and certainly something that is normally quite a stable commodity, not like, say, a Bitcoin or an AI share that could zoom up by 100 times and then crash. So that's on that one. That's the increase. What's the next point about gold on there?
The peak price was 3,405.90 pence. Were you surprised by this, or did you expect this?
Again, I wouldn't have forecast it being that high, but I'd like to think that I certainly wouldn't have come out against that and said, oh, that's ridiculous. Before we go on to forecasts, in the last few months, I've been coming round to being happier to go along with some of the forecasts that are basically mainly in the up direction. And we've seen forecasts in the last few months of $5,000 during the year. And if $5,000 is the US dollar price, then I think the sterling equivalent would be about £4,000. And I now think, yeah, we will see those. We'll probably see them earlier in the year than we expect. The reasons for this are many, and I think you've noted some reasons, haven't you?
Gold saw an initial bump to start 2025, largely brought on by the second inauguration by Donald Trump, along with the tariffs and tensions between the US and EU that subsequently followed. Things then quietened down somewhat, and when taking a higher level view, gold actually stayed relatively steady between March and September.
Good. Yeah, I've made my own separate notes as well. And the word Trump comes in there and the word tariffs come into it. And yes, and I certainly can remember that there were spikes and there was, if you like, a rash of news and a rash of opinions and comments about Trump's tariffs. Effectively, those tariffs are a kind of declaration of war, a kind of trade war against almost the whole world. Trump's or America's allies as well as its enemies. In fact, I think the tariffs were punishing its allies and ex-friends more than it was its opponents. I don't think Russia got hit with many new tariffs at the time, and in fact Trump seems to have been very friendly towards Putin. There are reasons there, and here we go. Some people say, oh, leave politics out of business, but in our industry you can't sensibly leave politics out of it because so much of it is political. It might be what areas control what mines, whether governments introduce export restrictions or import restrictions or taxes. The tariffs and the trade wars are the effect of the value of the US dollar. And the pound hasn't been doing brilliantly, but against the dollar, the pound has been doing very well. I think I looked this morning, it was 134 something, and it had been down to somewhere like 131 at times and threatening to go lower. If Trump is so good for the American economy, you would think the dollar might have strengthened, and the pound would have weakened against it. So what was the next point anyway? Because I'm rambling on too much.
So with rising tensions revolving around global conflict, it led to a sudden change in October, with both investor diversification and central bank purchasing driving the gold price through multiple all-time highs. Many eyes were on China's activity during the next few months, with considerable sources alluding to China's underreporting of their gold purchases as they look to reduce the country's exposure to the US dollar. What's your thoughts on this?
Okay, well, I've already alluded briefly to BRICS, and obviously China are one of the parties there. And yes, I think it's well known that China have been looking to de-dollarize, and China owns a very large fortune in dollars, and I think for quite a while it's wanted to get rid of them. Obviously, the Central Bank of China is not stupid enough to just go and dump all its dollars, because it'd cause a crash and they'd lose out. So it will be a slow process. And if you're getting out of dollars, what else do you put your money in? One obvious answer is gold. That's no surprise there. Central bank buying. Again, some of the central banks are the BRICS ones. We mentioned Russia. We mentioned China. If we read some of the reports that come out from people like the World Gold Council and Metal Focus, which I'd encourage people to read both of those if and when they have time, there are other central banks who are building up their gold reserves and shifting them out of things like dollars, possibly out of euros as well. I don't know. There's no surprise there. Talking about global tensions, obviously in the last week we've seen the Venezuela raid. And actually I think there's some progress there, because in the month before that, what we were hearing about is the Trump regime in the States detaining thousands of Americans and other people from the streets of US cities, if that includes New York, and then deporting them to Venezuela. Now he seems to have reversed the policy, and he's grabbing Venezuelans, including their president, from his safe bunker and deporting them to the USA, particularly New York. Now, which is the worst of those? To get plucked from Venezuela and sent to New York, or plucked from the streets of American cities and sent to Venezuela? I don't know. That's been condemned as unethical by Russia and China. So for somebody to give Russia and China moral high ground to criticise the USA for breaches of international law is a bit rich. It also possibly gives China some encouragement to say, well, if that's okay for the USA, well, we can move into Taiwan, which would give the USA another headache, I think. There is a whole list of other countries on Trump's target list at the minute, and I've made notes. There's Greenland, and that's been coming up more in the news now, wants to invade that or take it over, he's saying openly. He's gone quiet on Canada, making it the 51st state. My view is that Canada should have invited the USA to become the 15th or 17th Canadian province. That would have worked quite well. I am joking ever so slightly on that, but it'd be a good point. Also in the firing line in the last few days, Cuba, Mexico, Colombia, Iran. What else is going to be on the list by today or tomorrow or by the time this video comes out? So there's a lot of room for political uncertainty there. What's the next point?
Both during and following the year, multiple financial institutions have been forecasting another strong performance for 2026, with gold estimated to breach the $5,000 mark. What's your opinion on this? Do you think it will reach 5,000 or more?
Now, I've already touched on this. Should I do this a jump ahead, don't I, when I'm rambling? I see it hitting $5,000 quite easily, or £4,000. Neither of those are that far away now. They've got closer in the last couple of weeks while I've been churning it over. We had a conversation at home last night because I was saying to my wife something about the $5,000 forecasts and me going along with them and wondering where it might go after that. Would it go much higher? And my wife came out and said, more or less the same thing. Where and when is it going to stop? At which point our son, who is extremely well versed on world affairs, politics and high-level economics. I call him our secret weapon. He doesn't even like being mentioned. But he said, yeah, well, when Trump goes. So as your answer, yeah, he thinks that gold will probably continue to be in great demand until Trump goes and removes the main reason for gold's performance or for the lack of confidence in the US dollar. And I think he summed that up very well in about 20 seconds, and it'll take me 20 minutes to ramble on in this video to say something about half as interesting or effective. So, I could probably witter on for about another 10 or 15 minutes at this rate about gold, but I've probably said enough, and this video's already too long. I think you get the drift of that. So, thanks all for watching. We were going to just talk about silver now, but this gold bit of it has gone too long. We're going to split it. We made an executive decision to actually split it instead of incorporating it all. Silver might be simpler because I know even less about why that's shot up than gold. So thanks for watching. Do tune in soon for our companion video about silver, and hope you found this interesting. Bye for now.